Hey, math friends. So our learning target today is I can solve one-step equations like we did before, but this time it's using multiplication and division as the operation. So the steps for doing that, how do we find the solution of an equation? We will use the inverse operations. The ones that we've covered so far is that we know that addition and subtraction are inverse operations. So today we're going to talk about multiplication and division. How do we solve when it's a multiply or divide problem? So we're still going to do the concept of build house, build fence, clean yard, but instead we're going to have to identify the operation as being multiplication or division. So if we build our fence, or build our house rather, and build our fence, we have to think about what operation is sitting between the -20 and the x. And what we did in our last lesson is it was always an addition or a subtraction sign sitting there. So to clean the yard, we would always be adding or subtracting to clean the yard, the opposite of the sign. But in today's work, this is actually a multiplication sign sitting here. So to solve multiplication problems, and we want to clean the yard, we need this -20 to go. It's got to go. So because it's multiplication, we're going to divide by the -20, all of it, the sign 2, the jersey number 2. Notice I'm not adding and I'm not subtracting because the operation is multiplication. -20 multiplied by x. Rule of math says then we have to copy, paste, copy, paste. Whatever we do on one side, we have to do the other side. A little bit different in our lesson today is that this -20 divided by -20, if I kind of show you through the steps down here, -20 divided by -20 is +1. So yesterday we put a 0 there because we were tug-of-warring it. But today it's really going to be a 1 there, and that we need it to be to clean the yard. So if I haven't used it, drag it down. We have this variable x still sitting in the house. That's good news. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. And then on the right-hand side, we have another triangle problem. We have a +40, because that's the jersey sign, a -20, and the result of that would be negative. And 40 divided by 20 is 2. So to check our work, I'm going to go back up and erase the beginning of the problem so we can see it. For the beginning of this problem, and you feel free to rewind it if you want to see those steps again, the question is -2, the solution to the equation. So we would have -20 multiplied by -2. Does that equal +40? Well, if we build a triangle and we have a negative on the 20 and a negative on the 2, does that result in a +40? Yes. So the left side equals the right side. And by stating that, by checking that, we know that -2 is the solution for x. So that's our first problem in today's work on multiplication and division. So we were given a multiplication problem. To solve that, we divided by -20, copy, paste, copy, paste. So that's going to be our work today of how do we undo the multiplication and division problem. So a little different than yesterday's work, but the same concept of cleaning the yard. Next problem, we're going to build our fence, build our house. Now this time we have a division sign. So to solve this problem, we have to undo because multiplication and division are inverses. Now this is a really picky one. I'm really picky about this. We need to get rid of this -5. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply nice and high by the -5. That leaves the x alone in the house. And if I stack those on top of each other, -5 divided by -5, negative on the 5, negative on the 5 is positive, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. I realize they're not right on top of each other right there, but they could be. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Now this is the trickiest part of it, all of it. When we multiply nice and high to kill that denominator, we have to do multiply nice and high on the other side as well. Now don't decide if you get this or not. This is the first example of given a division problem, how do you undo with multiplication? multiply, nice and high, copy, paste. So you'll notice the green highlight has been pasted in multiplication, nice and high, both sides, copy, paste. So on the left-hand side, we have just the variable x. In the right-hand side, I have this triangle. I have a positive on the 8. I have a negative on the 5. So the result of that is negative 40. So the check step. So is this the correct solution? So I'm going to go back to the original problem. I have the beauty of using this stylus to be able to do that. So let's check it out. Is it true that negative 40 divided by negative 5 equals 8? Is that true? So if I build myself a triangle, negative 40, negative 5 is positive 8. So is it true that the left side equals the right side? Yes. So we know that negative 40 is the solution to x. Okay, so that's kind of our plan for today. Multiply and divide. So let's take a look at the next, well, all 4 of these, because the bottom 2 have some decimals and some numbers that won't be as easy to do in your head. So we'll see how you do on those. All right. At any point, pause the video if you need more time. Make sure you're doing that. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. The operation that's sitting right here right now is multiplication. So to get rid of that, we're going to divide. We want the x to stay. The negative 5's got to go. So to get rid of that, we divide by negative 5, copy, paste, copy, paste. Now, negative 5 divided by negative 5 is positive 1, which is exactly what we wanted to clean that yard. On the right-hand side, then, we have a negative 45. We have a negative 5. So the result of that is positive 9. Positive 9. So let's do our check step. Do we have the correct solution? Substitution. Negative 5 multiplied by positive 9. Does that equal negative 45? Triangle. Negative 45, negative 45, yes. So then we are just verified that 9 is the solution for x. All right, group. Hang in there. You got this. This is a really important skill. So let's try another problem over here on the right, something very similar to what you just saw on the previous page. Okay, so we have build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Now this given is a division problem. So to solve, we have to undo, which is multiply, nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. Make sure we multiply nice and high. You'll notice I will highlight that we have the exact same thing on the right to kill, that negative 4, multiply, nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. Keep in mind this is multiplication happening there. These cancel. That becomes a 1. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. And then on the left-hand side, we have a triangle. We have negative 4, negative 11 is positive 44. Positive 44. So let's do our check step and see where we're at. All right, so we believe that the x value is positive 44. So I'm going to plug it in, just right up here. And I'm going to triangle it quick just to make sure that that's a match. So we have a positive 44, a negative 4. The result of that is negative 11. So yes, we know that 44 is the solution for x. All right, we're at the 9-minute mark. We have 2 problems to do on the bottom of this page, and then I'm going to probably have you try some on your own. All right, so what happens if we have some decimals? Let's see how we do on these. Now, you're welcome to use a calculator or your cell phone at this point if some of that division is a little tricky for you. So feel free to use your calculator or cell phone at this point. So build house around the variable. Identification of the operation that this is multiply. So to get rid of multiply, we divide by the number out front. So that's negative 1.5. That's called the coefficient. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So we triangle the left-hand side, and you're welcome to use your calculator there. You would end up that you get negative 2 as the answer to that. This becomes 1 when we divide that. You're welcome to check that out in your calculator as well. So we believe that the n value is equal to -2. So with that said, we're going to substitute back in. So we have 3 is equal to -1.5 multiplied by -2. So we have 3 is equal to 3. So we know that -2 is the correct solution for the variable n. That is the value of n, -2 rather. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't too bad now that maybe you have access to your calculator or your cell phone or whatever you have access to. So what about this next one? I'm just going to warn you ahead of time that we will not get a whole value. We won't get an integer here. We're going to end up with a decimal known as a rational number, which we'll learn in the next unit. Just heads up, don't be surprised. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So we have the operation of multiplication here. So to solve, we're going to divide by the number out front, which is 4. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So the right-hand side becomes a nice 1. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. We cleaned our yard. We got rid of the 4. And on the other side, we have a -10, and we have a +4 that results in a -2.5, or a mixed number -2.5, however you're looking at it. So we believe that the value of x is equal to -2.5. So if you plug it back in, you substitute back in. I'm going to go ahead and back and erase the original problem if I can get the eraser to work. And we'll just verify that that is the true statement. So is it true that the left side equals the right side, that -10 is equal to 4 multiplied by -2.5? You can throw that at your calculator. Check it out, and indeed you get -10. So we know that this is the solution to the value of x. Okay, so multiply, divide, one-step equation. So let's take a peek at some of the other stuff I have here. I definitely do want to cover a couple of these. So what happens on this problem here? That's the first problem on the screen. Build house, build fence. When I go to build my house, I'll notice that there's this negative out front. And we need to recognize that that is a -1. So we need to put a 1 in front of the x, because really there's one x there. So really no big change then the rest of the way, but just recognizing that there's a 1 sitting in front of a lonely variable. So division is the operation, copy, paste, copy, paste. So this results in a 1, -1 divided by -1 is 1. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. And then we end up with a +33 divided by a -1. Results in a -33 when we divide here, -33. So for our check step, let's go back to the original problem and just kind of check it out. That we think the answer is -33. So heads up on this. So we say it's -33. Does that equal 33? And we know that this means take the opposite of. So yes, indeed, that's true. So we know that -33 is the solution to the equation. Okay, group, let's try this other one over here. So here we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I just deleted that problem down there. I didn't mean to do that. Actually, I think I'm going to skip this, the one in the upper right, and I'm going to go down because you've solved one like that before because of time. So here we go. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So now we have to get rid of this 1/3. But the tricky part of getting rid of a fraction is that you have to multiply by the reciprocal instead of the division. So it gets a little messy. So there's another trick that says kill denominator first. So what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of this 3 first, this division of 3. So this is just a little more advanced step here. So don't panic if you don't quite understand it right away. So we're going to get rid of the division of 3 first, called kill denominator first. Put kill in parentheses there because we don't really mean kill. But so we're going to multiply nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. So that's going to give me a nice 1 sitting here. And we end up with 1r, or r, they're the same thing. And on the right-hand side, we end up with 36 multiplied by 3. And that gives us, I threw it in my calculator there, sorry, I cheated a little bit, but 108. So we believe that the correct answer is 108. Oops, I just erased the entire problem, but let's make sure that we had that right. So is it true that 1/3 of 108 is equal to 36? If I put that in my calculator, I do indeed get that, so that we would know that the value of R is equal to 108. That is the solution. All right, we're at the 15-minute mark. I'm going to try this other one here that's a little more advanced as well. But I still think it's still good for us to take a peek at it. All right, so build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Now our job, of course, is to get the T alone in the yard. All the other stuff needs to go by inverse operations, do the opposite. But when there's a fraction there, it makes the math really messy. So we do this thing called kill denominator first. So this is divide by 4. We're going to multiply nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. That's a nice one. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. On the left side, there's still a negative 3t sitting there. And on the right side, we have 3 multiplied by 4. So with that said, we are going to now get rid of the negative 3 that's sitting out front. The operation is multiplication, so we have to get rid of the number out front. We're going to divide by negative 3, copy, paste, copy, paste. Again, this is called kill denominator first. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. And then on the right-hand side, we have a positive 12. This is a triangle. Divide by a negative 3 results in a negative 4. So let's go back to the beginning step. I better not erase that like I did last time because that's written in pen. It's not typed. So negative 3/4, this is the step I'm working on, of negative 4, does that equal 3? So if you were to put that in your calculator, you'll find out that that is equal to positive 12 divided by 4, which is equal to positive 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. So 3 equals 3. So we know that negative 4 is the solution to T. That's correct. That is the solution. All right, group. So here's what it's going to be your turn. You have 4 problems to try on this screen. I'd like you to pause the video. This is super, super important algebra. With the last day we did add, subtract. This is multiply, divide, equally important. So pause the video, try these out. You can use your calculator if you're stuck on your multiplication steps, and then we'll go over. All right, so you should have enough time to pause that video. You should have tried these. You should have actually done it. Make sure that you're doing the right thing for yourself, so for your future. You can do this. You got this. So we're going to build a house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. The operation here is division. We're going to multiply nice and high, copy, paste. Make sure we're multiplying nice and high both sides. This results in a 1. And on the right-hand side, we have a triangle. We have a negative 2. We have a positive 5, which results in a negative 10. Now, I'm going to skip the step of checking because otherwise the video is going to get super long. But you should be checking your paper right now that you got negative 10 and you should have checked it. All right, next problem. Grade your paper. See how you did. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. This is a multiplication problem. So we're going to divide by 2, copy, paste. So we get 2 divided by 2 is 1. And we get k is equal to negative 4. K equals negative 4. Again, you substitute in up here. Make sure that the left side equals the right side and so on. Hopefully you are 2 for 2. Come on, guys. Stay with it. You can do this. Super, super important stuff. Multiplication is the operation here. We build our house. Division to undo. Divide, divide, divide. We're going to divide by everything out front. That thing out front, we're dividing by it. Copy, paste, copy, paste. This is a triangle problem here. So we have negative 35 divided by negative 7 results in a positive 5 is equal to the x value. And again, you should be plugging back in just to verify that that positive 5 is the solution. But I'm going to go through that so the video doesn't get super long. All right, last problem on this screen. Let's hope for 4 for 4. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Now, this is division. To get rid of division, we multiply nice and high, copy, paste. Multiply nice and high, copy, paste. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. So k is alone, home alone, yeah? And on the right-hand side, we end up with a positive 9 multiplied by negative 3. The result of that is negative 27. Plug back in and check. Boom, that's done. Hopefully you went 4 for 4, at least 3 for 4. Okay, class, last 4 problems of the day. Try them out. Pause video and go for these 4. All right, you should have enough time to pause the video. I'm going to go through these. I am not going to check this step either. So this is a negative 1a. So we're going to build our house around the a. You got to put a 1 in front of that. So division is the operation to get rid of that thing out front. You divide by the number out front. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. And we end up with a is equal to negative 24 divided by negative 1 is positive 24. So the a value is equal to positive 24. You should be plugging back in to check. Next problem. Hopefully you're 1 for 1 on this page. You got this. Come on. Division is the operation to undo because this is a multiplication problem. So we need to use division is what I meant to say to undo. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So this is a triangle problem. We have a negative 20 and a positive 5. The result of that is negative. And 5 goes into 24 times. And the right-hand side, we have 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we end up with m is equal to negative 4. Down here, this is a negative 1 sitting in front of that b. So you got to jam that 1 in there. So we're going to kill denominator first here, recognizing that this is a fraction. So we grab that denominator and kill it. Multiply nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. Again, this is a little more advanced. These last two are a little more advanced, but it's a good challenge for you. That's a triangle problem here on the left. We have a positive 4. We have a negative 10. The result of that is negative 40. Now, if we haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. Now, heads up on this. We still have this negative 1 sitting there. It'd be fine if it was just a 1, but it's a negative 1. So that b value is not totally home alone yet. So we have some work to do to get rid of that negative 1. So recognizing here that this negative 1 multiplied by b, heads up, that's a b, so be careful about that. I build my house around the b, and now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that number out front from division is the operation to get rid of it. The left-hand side is positive 40 using a triangle, and the right-hand side I get b, so I believe that the value of b is equal to 40. Again, you need to plug back in and verify that. And the last problem of the day, drum roll. Here we go. Last problem of the day. Hopefully we went 4 for 4 in this screen. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Now, we need to kill this denominator first. So we're going to multiply nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. That kills those numbers. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. The right-hand side becomes negative 12 multiplied by positive 4 results in a negative 48. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So I'm not done yet because G is like trying to get rid of everything out of the yard. The 3 has got to go. The operation here is multiplication. So we have one more step to do. We're going to divide by 3, copy, paste, copy, paste. So we end up with G is equal to, build our triangle. So we have a negative 48, a positive 3. So the result of that is negative 16. So we believe that the G value is equal to negative 16. And for the sake of making this, not making the video any longer, I'm not going to plug that back in. So for our work today, reminder things. If you have a negative x equals some value, reminder that this is really a 1 out front. So it's really a negative 1x. And then it's build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Since this is multiplication, we would divide by the number out front, copy, paste. We get x equals triangle, negative 33. Plug it back in to make sure it's good. And the other reminder for today is that if you have a division problem, reminder that you have to multiply nice and high, copy, paste, copy, paste. It's multiplication happening over here. So to kill the division, you got to multiply both sides to kill the division. So that's another thing to point out. And the final thing of summary today is that if you have a fraction, that reminder that you kill the denominator first through multiplication. And then the last step would be that you do the division. And you would end up with x is equal to 16. Just quick reviews of kind of the things we talked about. Okay, fabulous work. Great job. Stick with it. You got this. You are in charge of your future, so you got this. I'm here for you if you need anything. Make sure that you're reaching out, asking questions.